Do you love sushi and sashimi? We love sushi and sashimi, or I should say nigiri and sashimi. Hey, welcome back to the shop and the channel. So now that we're dealing with smaller projects, I'm doing a smaller project. So, backstory. Mara and I love sushi and sashimi. It's pricey, so it's a treat. But and we used to go to this local mom and pop sushi joint down the road from us, which was great because you could sit down, sushi, sake. We don't drink much, but a little bit of sake with your sushi is cool. Well, the mom and pop sushi restaurant got sold to another mom and pop to become another mom and pop sushi restaurant. They don't have a liquor license, and it takes 2 years or more to get a liquor license in Maryland. Go figure, I don't know. So what we do is we get takeout, and it comes in the little plastic takeout containers. And we're sitting there eating them, we're saying, you know, it'd be nice if we had regular sushi platters for these. So I volunteered to make, of course, a couple of sushi platters, wooden ones. So what we're going to use is scrap from over here from a big pile of wood. So first of all, the platters themselves are going to be made out of this piece of, I think this is 7/8 cherry. This will be cut down to size. They're going to be about 12 inches long, 5.5 inches wide. And then the legs are going to be made of maple. And I have some maple here that came from the pile that has a little bit of figure in it. I don't know if it'll ever show up. Of course, these are underneath the platter, so it's really, you won't be able to see it much. And the way it's going to work is they're going to be fastened with sliding dovetail joints into the sushi platter itself. So first things first is to cut the wood out, the large pieces of wood out. This can wait until I'm ready to make the legs. The process is cut the pieces of wood out, platters first, set up and cut the dovetails in. My phone just sent me a message. Cut the dovetails into the bottom of the platters, and then use the same bit at the same height to fit the dovetails legs with sliding dovetails into the platter. You want a snug but not tight fit because once you put glue on it, you're never going to get it down in there. So you want it to slide with friction into the joint. Of course, I'll do the dovetails in here, and then I will do a test piece to make sure I get the dovetail joint here to fit precisely in here. So let's get down to ripping and cross-cutting this big piece of cherry. I need my ear protection for this, don't I? And I got to put on my tunes so I have music when I'm doing this work. There we go. So this is a sushi platter. I know it looks kind of small, but typically we do it across at an angle when you have it on a sushi platter. And excuse me, I don't know if I'm unconsciously doing this, but making it this side so I don't order too much. But then again, can you ever have too much sushi or sashimi? Mara likes sashimi. I like nigiri. So she has no rice and I have rice. So the next thing to do is to set this up so I can do the dovetails in the router table. Now I'm going to do a couple of test pieces first off camera, and then we'll go from there. did a quick test piece with some softwood. Here is the dovetail that's going to be in the sushi board, bottom of the sushi board. There'll be two, of course, one on each end, and then I did a carefully sneak up with the dovetail on the end of a piece of soft pine, and it fits in here okay. It's just a tiny bit loose, but there's a dovetail joint, sliding dovetail joint. So when I do the final one, I'll have to be much more careful on the sneaking up part because I don't have a fine adjustment on my fence. And what you're doing, you'll see later, what you do is you tighten down one side of your fence and you move the other end of your fence in and out to set the depth of your cut. And that's the hard part, is to get that just right. So you basically make it wide and sneak up on it. You make this wider and you sneak up on it very, very tiny, weeny increments until you get it that snug fit that you're looking for. So let's go ahead and let's do the long cuts in here with the dovetail bit, and then we'll do these cuts here with the same dovetail bit. I'm using a 1/2 inch, by the way, dovetail bits, 1/2 inch, the bottom of the dovetail bit in the router table. So let's do that now and make sure I don't screw it up. It's really tight over here by the router table. It's hard to get a camera back behind me or whatever, but I've got it set up after my test pieces. The bit is, like I said, it's a 1/2 inch, dovetail bit. This is actually a 3/4 inch stock, so the dovetail bit is 3/8 of an inch above the surface of the table. There'll be single pass, obviously, through this way and flip it around and do it this way and do the other work piece. I have a large piece of wood as my push block, and I'm basically going to force it against the table, the fence like this, and make sure there we go, goes through slowly. It's going to throw all the crap out that way. So this is a test. Well, it shouldn't be a test. It's a final work piece. But let's go ahead and cut these out, and then we can get to making the feet. So there we go. The dovetails are cut, obviously, symmetrical. They're in the same place. And sticking with the Japanese theme, I'm really not going to decorate these with much of anything. They're just going to be nice, solid blocks to put the sushi on. So sushi platters, 2 sushi platters. Now it's time to get busy on getting the maple legs cut to fit through those dovetail slots correctly. Now to cut the sliding dovetails themselves on the legs. This material is pine. It's the same thickness as the maple. I don't want to waste maple doing this test cuts. Basically, for fitment, I have my platter here. I set the fence where I believe it should be very close. I'm basically bisecting the bit in half with the fence, and I'll make adjustments in and out if I need to. And the way the adjustments work is, like I said earlier, you tap here or tap here with a light hammer or a rubber mallet, just a little bit, because when if you move it a 32nd of an inch that way, you're taking a 1/16 of an inch off because it's a rotating bit. So let's do a test cut and see where we are right now. Okay, let's try that fit again. See how it does. Okay, that's almost perfect. It's a tiny bit snug, but that's okay. What I'll do is I'll cut a couple more pieces off camera to get the fit correct, and at that point, I'll do the maple legs and make sure those fit correct, and then we shall proceed. And there it is, a little gap there, but that's something else entirely. That's what I'm looking for right there, and it's a snug fit, but it's a friction fit. So I can put this, I can now do the maple. So let me get the maple parts cut out, and then I can work on them over here and start putting this whole mess together. Time to mount the legs on the bottom of the platter, whatever you want to call it, the plate thing for the sushi and the sashimi. It's a sliding dovetail joint. This is real simple. But what I like to do is just put a little bit of glue in the middle, here and here, and then slide the joint in. You don't need to glue the whole thing. You just need to glue it in the middle so that these parts don't move again. And you don't get a lot of squeeze out in the ends. Let me get, just in case I need it, let me get my little brass mallet. I probably won't need this because these are snug, but not so tight that they're going to start swelling and whatever. So let's start with this one. Put a little bit of glue in the middle, like that. I'm just putting about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of glue in there. Then slide this in. I mean, this is not rocket science, just as we like to say. Okay, and then just going to push down. Got a little squeeze out at the end, and those are going to get cut off. And I want to get, I wanted it to stick out both sides so that I can cut them flush and then sand it smooth, and then this will be done. I'll break the edges, and then we can put the finish on. So I gotta get a rag. So let's I got a little sanding on the top to do, but that's no big deal. Let's do the other one now. And wipe off the excess. And there we go. So basically, watch glue dry, watch paint dry, whatever. So we'll give these 20 minutes to cure. As far as they'll be cured enough in 20 minutes. It's PVA glue. It cures up pretty quickly. So we'll come back and do some cutting and some sanding, and then breaking the edges, and then we'll put the finish on these. Glue has cured. It's time to nip off these protrusions on the sides. And what I'm going to do is put it along my bench so I can keep it in camera. I'll bring the camera down when I'm doing this. Put a piece of wood on top of there. Take a hold fast. Let's put it back just a little bit. Yeah, that ain't moving anywhere. So let's do some, oh yes, since we're making Japanese utensil, we use Japanese saw. I love these things. I've been using these things for, I don't want to tell you how long. But anyway, let's do some cutting. Takes a little while when you're doing maple because it's, it's a dense wood. With those cut flush, I need to do a wee bit of sanding on the sides and on the ends and a little bit on the top, and then it's going to be ready for the finish. And basically clamp it up on the vise like so, grab the random orbital and go across the surface. You know what, I use my fingers to feel if it's raised or not. Your fingers are the one of the best gauges you have in the shop. And then for doing the sides, the ends, I mean, end grain, it's a little small for this. So I take my sanding pad, run it like so, to get that sanded relatively smooth, and then a top, which we'll do with the random orbital sander. So, and then I got to break the edges. But this is now, once I get all that done, this is ready for the finish. The finish, I know, the finish is supposed to be here today. Hopefully it'll be here today. And then this will be all ready for it. And then we'll slap on the finish and see how it looks. Now, the maple dovetails don't show up as well right now, but I believe once the finish is on here, they're going to kind of pop out. Then I guess I should go order some more sushi. And here we are, the finish. The finish, as I said, was kind of humorous. It's from TotalBoat, which I'm switching over to their epoxy products because they just have a great reputation. Everybody loves them, and I like the way they do business. Anyway, it's called Wood Honey. Yes, it's called Wood Honey, and it's in a little, like the old teddy bear bottle, honey bottle. So yeah, this is their product, and now what I want to do is I have a stands, my little pyramid stands here. What I want to do is do the bottoms first, and then the tops. And the tops are actually going to get 2 or 3 coats with the sanding in between. This is goes on a liquid. It's a food-safe wood finish, and it hardens. It's not one of those ones that remains kind of liquidy. So let's do, and you know, as I wind up getting you know, pretty dovetails and stuff showing up, I will bring it up to the camera, because you know, just rubbing stuff on is not terribly interesting. So you can see the dovetails show up much better when you've got the finish on, because it's end grain against side grain. I got the first coat on here. Oopsie. Now I got to let this cure. I have to check what the time limit on when it cures, so I can do this. The next coat on the tops of the tables of the platters, the sushi platters. Got a little tiny little blotching on that one. I'm not concerned about that. And there you go. There's the first coat. There'll be multiple coats with, like I said, with sanding in between. And once I get all of that done, we'll have one final look, and that will end this video. So I'll rest this off camera, and then we'll show you what the finished product. And there we go. The finish is on. When I went to TotalBoat's website, what I discovered was that you can put as many coats on as you want in the same day, but they recommend 2 to 3 on the surface, and then give it 5 to 7 days to I guess cure and so you can put food on it. So this is going to wait for 5 to 7 days. I've also been kind of going down this rabbit hole on YouTube on making chopsticks. Maybe not now. I have to make a jig to do that, but maybe not. So this is going to be ready in 4 or 5 days, 5 to 7 days, to go get some more sushi, which we probably won't, because like I said, it's kind of pricey. So sushi platters for the home. Present your sushi like you're in a restaurant. Until next time, make great things out of wood.